All right, let's hit that recording button. What you see in front of you is the rock, paper, scissors. We've been making this over the course of the couple days, and there's been a lot of absences. So I'm making a video so that you can watch it and catch up. So first, let's just play through this, shall we? Let's just play through it. This is rock, paper, scissors. If I choose rock, a tie happens. Now I've chosen rock over here, the computer's chosen rock over there, and that's a tie. Let's choose rock again. That's my rock, it's another tie, that's okay. Let's do this a couple more times, still a tie. This is weird, but the computer has chosen paper and the computer wins. Let's see if I can win. And the computer's won, and the player has won now. I've chosen rock and the computer has chosen scissors. If we click on these, well, the rock is the one working right now, but we can see that this is saying pick one. The player can pick one. If I pick paper, it goes over there. If I pick scissors, it goes over there. And the rock is the only one that has actual working stuff happening. Let's talk about the sprites. We have 4 sprites and we have a backdrop. The first sprite is called rock. Actually, let's go ahead and restart that. We have a rock sprite, we have a paper sprite, and we have a, I'm looking the wrong way, but like I don't know how to fix that. So I keep looking there where this screen is. And we have a scissors, rock, paper, and scissors. I have made my own costume here. This is actually a built-in rock costume. This is the paper costume. I drew it myself. You'll also note that like instead of just using some lines, I've filled in the area so that it is easier to click. And then this is my scissors. Again, I drew this myself, but then I filled in a block so that it is easier to click. Okay. Next up, let's look at the code, or actually let's look at the computer. So the computer sprite has 3 costumes in it, a rock, paper, and scissors. And you cannot see that sprite when the game starts, all right? And then our backdrop actually has 1, 2, 3, 4 different backdrops or costumes for the background. And we've written all of these. Something is weird with the text thing and I cannot type. It just doesn't work. So I've written it like that. But we are using the backdrop to effectively provide information. Pick one. The player has one. The computer has one. Or it has been a tie. All right. So that is the sprites and background art that we will need. Now let's look at the code. And the first thing we're going to notice right here is the click green, when green flag is clicked. I am moving this to this position because when I start the game, that's where I want my rock. I'm also making it visible. I am showing it. Just in case it was hidden before, I am showing it. These are basically going to be the same for all 3 of our options here, rock, paper, and scissors. Again, paper, moving to the specific position that I want it, and then making it visible. And for scissors, my sprite is actually, and you can see this a little bit here, my sprite's just big, right? Compare that to this. Can I zoom out here? My sprite's just bigger, right? And instead of just resizing it in the sprite, I've just chosen to resize it in the code. So it would normally be that big, which is too big. And so when I click this, it just makes it go to 50% of the size. Yay! The next thing, when we click the green flag for our computer, it just hides the sprite. It just hides it. We do not need to see it. And for the backdrop, we switch to the pick backdrop. So when the green flag is clicked, we effectively set the game up to be played. Next up, we have a when this sprite is clicked, and that is very similar for all 3 of our option sprites. So we're gonna go and just look at it here. We are setting a player choice, which is a variable. You can see my variables right here. My variable, actually I have 3 variables. I have a computer choice, I have a my variable that we're not using at all, and I have a player choice. So actually really only have 2 variables here, a computer choice and a player choice. And I am setting player choice to rock, just the word, and then I am broadcasting the made choice broadcast, all right? And in paper, again, I am setting the player choice variable to paper and broadcasting made choice. And in scissors, I am broadcasting, or I am making the player choice scissors and then broadcasting made choice. Now, we see here none of these three sprites have the made choice sort of when I receive made choice. The made choice code is actually running on the computer. When I receive made choice, i.e. after one of these three have been clicked, then my computer picks a random costume 1 to 3. And if the costume number is 1, then it sets computer choice to rock. And that is because these costumes, the first one is rock, that's the 1. The second one is paper, and the third one is scissors. And so if the second costume, or if the costume is number 2, then it sets it to paper. And if the costume is number 3, then it sets it to scissors. It then moves to this position over here, moves over there. Now I don't know if I'm ever actually moving this around, but let's say it was there. I reset, and I go there, now it's back over there. So making it go to the correct spot, because that's where I want it to go, and then I am showing it, because again, it was hidden, and then I want to show it. And I am now broadcasting check winner. So when I send check winner, I actually receive check winner here, and here, and here. So my picking sprites do receive the check winner code. And when they receive the check winner code, they immediately hide. They're no longer visible. And then if the one that was chosen, if the player choice is rock, or if the player choice is paper, or if the player choice is scissors, right, one of those will work, it will go to a specific position, and that position's all the same position, and then it will become visible. So effectively, if I choose scissors, my scissors will become visible. If I choose paper, my paper is visible. And if I choose rock, my rock is visible, but none of the rest of them are. Check winner is also happening in the backdrop. When I check winner, I am going to check to see if I am a winner. Who is the winner? And the easiest way that I know how to do this is actually to do a sort of compound or nested if statement. So the first thing we check is if the player choice is rock. We can then check to see if the computer choice is rock, or the computer choice is paper, or the computer choice is scissors, right? If the player choice is rock and the computer choice is scissors, we should switch the background to tie. If the player choice is rock and the computer chooses scissors, then the computer has won. And if the player chooses rock and the computer chooses scissors, then the player has won. Now the fun part about this is that we do need to do this 2 more times. This whole thing we need to do twice more for computer or player choosing paper and player choosing scissors. We need to check all 3 of these for all 3 of those options. There's 9 total options. Now you could just do 9 if statements. And what we're about to do is actually going to have more than 9 if statements. It's going to have 12 if statements. But if you right click or 2-finger click, you can duplicate that. And now we have all these extra. And the only things we need to change here are the player choice to be paper, P-A-P-E-R. And then of course if I choose paper and the computer chooses rock, I win, player wins. If I choose paper and the computer chooses paper, we tie. And if I choose paper and the computer chooses scissors, the computer wins. And then duplicate that 1 more time. And again, this choice will be scissors, S-C-I-S-S-O-R-S. And if the player chooses scissors and the computer chooses rock, the computer wins. If the player chooses scissors and the computer chooses paper, then the player wins. And if the player chooses scissors and the computer chooses scissors, then we tie. And now, wasn't that actually easier than typing in all different 9 if statements? Especially because if we were going to do 9 if statements, let me just give you an example here. We would have had that if, and then we would have had to build a and then we would have had to get the equals, and then we would have had to get the equals, and then this would have been paper. Well, actually, let's just go up to here. This is rock and rock, right? So this is rock, and this is rock, and we would have needed our variables, player choice and computer choice, and this becomes very long, right? And we would have needed 9 of these, 1, 2, 3, and player choice rock, player choice paper, player choice, right? And then we would have needed to copy it down multiple times. But here, that is not the worst thing in the world. You could have done that, but we don't need to. We're going to delete that. Mostly I'm deleting it because building this complicated sort of and structure here, I see a lot of kids get hung up on this, like dragging these in. You can see how it's highlighting it, right? And I'm used to it, so I'm putting like the left side of my block into like the gap where I know it goes. But a lot of people, when they see something like this, they kind of like do weird things. They sometimes just like put it here, and they think, okay, well that says player rock, right? Player equals rock. Player choice equals rock. Why isn't it working? And then they move this to like right here. Oh, sorry, the right to right. Let's see if I can do this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, well that's at least not busted. But then they're like, why won't it go in? Because they're trying to drag the right side in, and that's super, super annoying. And we avoid some of that like just user interface stuff by not doing this. So, let's delete these blocks, and delete these blocks, and delete this block, and delete that block. And yeah, what's this? Let's get rid of that then. 1, 2, 3. And here we can happily see that this is all of my rock section for the player rock. This is all of my player paper section, and this is all of my player scissors section. And now we can test this. I picked rock, the computer picked papers. We're computer 1. I picked paper, the computer picked scissors, the computer 1. And I picked scissors, and the computer picked rock, and the computer 1. Now, honestly, I feel like the computer's cheating at this point, but we know that it's not. It's just picking them randomly. All right? So, again, feel free to pause the code anywhere you feel like you need to pause the code. And also, let me just throw away the scissors. This is all I like to do. I can get rid of the scissors, and I can get rid of the paper, and it is just so much easier to put this right on the same screen, one screen, and just point out that you need all of this. You don't need to change any of these things, except for these purple bits, of course. But like again, you can duplicate that, and you have this is player choice rock, player choice paper. So we'll throw that away. This is all the code that you need. We did make our own art here. And yeah, hope this helps. Please make sure to rename this rock, paper, scissors or something along those lines, because Untitled will immediately lose you 1 point. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to submit those via email or Canvas or ask them in person during class. Thank you.